Hey everyone, welcome back, and I hope you are good. It's Jebro. I'm going to be talking about the Harbinger. I almost said it. I almost said Harbinger. But the Harbinger, here it is, right here on screen. Today was the Guild Chat, the Guild Wars 2 show, where they talk about things and stuff. And they normally talk about story and all the other bits and pieces that go out throughout the year, and then they add bits and bobs in terms of, you know, previews for like expansions or content that's coming out. And this time round I got the opportunity to sit down with some peeps from the Lightbringers podcast and watch and react and talk about the things. Now I didn't get the chance to go through all the skills and abilities, and that's what I'm going to go do right now. Rather than listening to what Cal's kind of saying, Cal CMC in the bottom left hand corner, who did a brilliant job, as he always does, talking about the different things that come with the classes and the different situations you might get in and whatnot. I'm going to actually look at them myself, and we're going to have a look at just the skills and first impressions, reactions of what the spec is, what it's about, and if we might enjoy it. So let's have a look at the Harbinger. This is the Necromancer, as you can see at the bottom of the screen as well. You have your Death Shroud, which is here, F1 ability, and then you've got your Elixirs. Then you've got your pistol, which is a main hand pistol with 1, 2, 3 abilities right there. Looks like he's got some mobs as well, kind of on the left hand side, just hanging out, it's okay. But the Shroud ability is very, very interesting. So Shroud becomes Harbinger Shroud and boosts with boosted abilities while afflicted with Blight. So at the moment he's dropped his HP right down so that he can show off potentially what is going to happen in this Shroud. So let's have a little listen to Cal, see what he's saying.
How you're going to play the game, being able to build up enough life force to enter Shroud, but at the same time you need to make sure that you're avoiding enough damage so that it doesn't actually drain too much of that life force. And I mean, you still get the upside of the heal, but a lot of the time you're going to be wanting to go into that Shroud and get access to those damaging abilities. So it's kind of, right off the bat, kind of an interesting change of pace for this character. And there's a lot more to come. And let's just give myself some more life force here. And first thing we're going to see when we hop into Shroud, we're starting to accumulate this, this mechanic called Blight. And we'll see a little bit more of this on the rest of the spec as well.
So Blight is going to be really important to think about. You can see at the moment there's minus 3,000 or so. The players are in the way. Health. Right now Blight is taking his HP right down. Instead, what you can't see that here because it's just changing his health bar essentially, rather than taking HP away. And I wonder how that is going to transfer to players as they're kind of playing through the game actually.
But building up Blight, you can see on the health orb, we're gaining negative health.
So it's like opposite of barrier, basically.
This is temporary health, 2% per stack. This stacks up to 25 times, so you can lose up to 50% of your maximum health if you are capped on Blight.
So you can only lose 50% health. It is the maximum you can lose, which is pretty good. Like for classes like Necro, for example, like, you know, it's going to be about 11,000 on your base lowest HP, which I think is like 20, is it 26? I can't remember how much it is, but like, it's not too bad.
And the trade-off there is that some of the traits on this character are going to reward you for accumulating a lot of Blight, and that's going to create kind of this high risk, high reward
I really like
dynamic
that
for this character, which is...
Look at the Blight effect around the character as well.
More of this more of a glassy DPS character, even more so than Reaper. We're going to see a couple other mechanics with the Shroud that...
Yeah, so this is exactly what I thought it was going to be. It was going to be this really glassy kind of class, which is cool. I'm liking this.
Really reinforce that.
Really like the Blight effect.
DPS, a little more mobility than Necromancer is used to. We'll get to that as we get into the Shroud skills. So Blight, key mechanic, we'll see that in Elixirs as well. The other thing to note about Harbinger Shroud is that life force will not actually protect you. It will not absorb damage while you're in Shroud. You are just going to take full damage from abilities against your health total. So this, again, makes the character a little bit more squishy, but at the same time it also gives you more access to life force because you can't actually be pushed out through damage, eating through all your life force. You're going to have access to Shroud as long as you have life force.
Basically, yes. And I don't know if there's any actual, you're able to get more life force while you're in that Shroud. We'll have to wait and see how it goes in terms of the other traits and how it synergizes. But it's really good because you know how much health you've got in your bar anyway, and you're not looking at a second bar. So really, like, Shroud was always used as like this second health bar which you burnt through. Now it is not, and it was, so you're gonna have to be even more careful. Now this spec with the Guardian and with the Virtuoso very much feel like assassin specs, which is why they've probably been lumped together for this first beta test. And I'm kind of excited just about that, in the idea that that's what they are, because I'm wondering what they've sectioned off the others as, in terms of maybe there's some support, maybe there's some more like tanky classes, some more like condition oriented builds, elite specializations was coming in. There's just loads of thoughts on why they've specifically bumped these together, and someone did say that they thought the list on the website was the order of what elite specs are coming to the betas as well. So I haven't actually looked at that list, but apparently that's what this is. Anyway, doesn't matter, you can go look at that. I'm not going to look at it right now.
So you'll be accumulating Blight as that goes on, and you're going to be susceptible to damage. So really big moment of high risk, high reward again, and since you're able to take damage, you're also allowed to be healed. So it's a pretty big disconnect from the typical Shroud we see on Core Necro, we see on Reaper, kind of similar to Scourge in that sense, where you always kind of have access to incoming healing, and at the same time don't have that massive protection from Life Force. Scourge.
Yeah, because if you did, it would be ridiculous. Yeah, let's keep listening. I'm just going to comment on things really.
Harbinger just has to deal with it, get some allies to heal you, get some supports, make some support friends, and really be able to capitalize on the upside of Harbinger Shroud. So that kind of creates a few different ways that you can interact with Shroud here, because the longer you stay in Shroud, you're going to be accumulating blights. You're even more and more susceptible to damage. So sometimes you might want to just pop in, use all your abilities, which we will cover very shortly, but we just show off super high level. Here's some buttons to press. So you might pop in, use all your abilities, pop out, and really minimize the blight. Then you're giving up some of the sustained pressure from the damaging abilities in Harbinger Shroud, but at the same time you're kind of maximizing your survivability by accumulating less blight. Or you can have that kind of trade-off where going in with maximum health or maximum life force is going to give you access to potentially 20 seconds of Shroud. This drains at 5% per second. So up to 20 seconds of
That's good. That's actually like quite a good thing to know, to be fair.
Shroud, where you're going to really have access to a lot of these powerful abilities.
That was it.
And just going to throw something out for all of the theory crafters in the chat real quick. Everyone who has spreadsheets, we should probably compare notes sometime, because I'm a big fan of spreadsheets. But for anyone who wants to do some calculations and maybe figure out the power coefficients of all these abilities before getting your hands on it next Tuesday, the character I'm currently on has 2,023 power, as well as about 37% boon duration. So keep that in mind. Legendary pistol, sorry, getting ahead of myself. So keep that in mind. There's your weapon strength. There's your power.
Anyway, so listening to, I like listening talking, and while he's talking about all these different things, you know, it's always interesting to hear about his own thoughts and everything else. So he's going through the Shroud abilities right now. So I'm going to have this going kind of off in the background. But the first skill, so what's it called? Let's have a look at the actual Harbinger Shroud. So Tainted Bolts, which I think is what he's using right now. Fire quick bolts of energy that explode on impact, inflicting torment on enemies in an area. Kind of looks like a mini conal AoE, I guess, but there's damage, there's torment for 4 seconds. Obviously torment is when they're stationary and whatnot as well now, as they changed that over. And you got Dark Barrage, which is the second ability, which is on right now. So you fire 6 bolts of tormented energy that fan out from you, piercing all enemies in their paths. It's big pierce, actually. All right, let's see him use that. That's actually pretty nice. 6 stacks of torment as well. Torment is a big feature of this class in this. Damn. And that's some nice, like, power damage as well. It's fairly bursty, and then with the torment as well. So this is going to be a good, like, carrion amulet. Again, is probably going to be really strong with this, because it's very much a hybrid between the Condi and between the power as well. It'd be interesting to know what amulet or stats he's kind of running. It's definitely we should have listened to that maybe, and listened to the amount of condition stacks he had as well. Condition damage, sorry. Third skill looks a lot like Rampage. as far as I can tell. Third skill, channel twisted energy to launch yourself at your foe, torment nearby enemies as well. So 900 range as well on that one. And then for Voracious Arc is going to be a leap to a destination, evading through the air, daze enemies near your impact point. So you can use this to get out as well, it looks like. He's still looking at devouring current at the moment. Oh no, there we go. He's going to full skill. So that's aimed. So it's pretty cool. It's an evade as well, which is pretty cool. It should be an evade anyway. Let's double check. Yeah, and a half a second evade. It's not a big one, but it's there. Yeah, there's not much. That fifth skill is pretty strong. Look at that when it goes around. Let's have a look at that again. This ability looks very cool, and it shows you kind of what it does. So Vital Draw, twist the souls of nearby enemies, suspending them in the air while you siphon their life force. You gain life force for each target struck. So at the moment you can see it's on 1,869. 5 targets, radius, life force percentage 255, which is quite nice. Float for 3 seconds as well. That's really good. So 1,869. How much is he gonna get? 144. Whoa, holy. Wait, did he give himself? I don't know if he gave himself that much.
Vital Draw, probably the most powerful. We have like 3-second float. This also gives you a little bit of life force as well, so that kind of gives you a little bit more time in here if you're hitting maximum number of targets. This is a AoE 3-second float, so really big potential to set up Dark Barrage, set up.
So he's done that quite twice, and I don't know if he's just given himself life force back or if that's exactly what happened.
Pistol skill, you know, hit this, Dark Barrage, get out, press skill 2, Weeping Shots. We'll get to that real quick. You have a lot of opportunity to set up both yourself and your teammate with that ability.
Nice.
So there's definitely a lot of power in the Harbinger kit. We're trying to really balance the risk-reward aspect of no health coverage with life force, and also
I really do like that. Yeah, they're talking about they've added vitality and whatnot to other bits and bobs. I feel like we haven't talked about pistol yet, so I'm gonna wait to see what he's talking about with the pistol. But really interesting with the Shroud, of course. The pistol he's gonna start going over right now. It's just basic abilities basically. So fire a tormenting bullet that bounces between nearby foes. That's the first shot, vicious shot. That's like a ricocheting bullet actually, which is actually pretty cool. You know, the engineer has that on their pistol 3, of course, which is that big days. Which is nice, and the extra condition damage as well. Weeping Shots is a pierce as well. Pierce your enemies with a series of corrosive bullets, inflicting torment and vulnerability. Gain life force for the first target hit by each bullet, which is very awesome as well. So that's actually gain life force for the first target hit by each bullet. Huh, interesting. So really thinking about how you gain life force, and this is going to be so important, especially with your Shroud, because your Shroud is where a ton of your damage is going to be coming from, CC as well, and tons of awesome abilities that the Harbinger obviously has. And then your fire, third ability on the pistol is going to be a dart, which is going to be called Vile Blast, where you fire a dart that shatters on impact, releasing noxious liquid that stuns, weakens, and poisons foes. Ooh. In the area, gain life force for each target struck. So obviously more targets the better, because you get more life force. So you want to be potentially, like, if you want to have maximum uptime in this and you're in PvP or World v World, you're going to be using these skills obviously more, or holding them a little bit longer if in those team fights, which is making me think this might be more of a definite team fight DPS spec more than anything else, on the same kind of, filling the same kind of role that Necro does now, unless you're playing Scourge obviously. And then that is okay, and this could replace, you know, the Condi kind of core Necro, or the Reaper maybe. It's still kind of got that role, it feels like, but it could, you know, with some of the mobility it has, could potentially be a bit more of a roamer or a side point holder as well, with so much HP, but you have to be careful because he's quite squishy as well. But there's a lot of poison. The stun's good, the weakness is good obviously. If you're going to use a lot of damage, third skill is probably going to be your first one in PvP specifically, pardon me, that you might pop off. I think a lot about these abilities and the fact that, you know, I PvP a lot, I'm thinking about how I would use them. Necro is something I actually play quite a lot in PvP.
That's pistol kit, you know, it's 9 of the range.
What I want to do is, I feel like I want to go and see if he talks about Blight specifically.
You need to make sure that you're avoiding enough damage so that it doesn't actually drain.
Oh, hello, I've got a message.
I mean, you still get the upside of the heal, but a lot of time you're going to be wanting to go into that shroud and get access to those damaging abilities.
Because Blight confuses me a tiny bit.
Change of pace for this character, and there's a lot more to come. And let's just give myself some more life force here.
Let's see if Wolfie actually describes it in a bit better.
And it's a little nefarious and from the Jade. And the result.
Cool stuff. Important note for the balance update. Harbinger Shroud is actually something that Scourge does right now, but not anymore. We're renaming that to Sandstorm Shroud, a lot more thematic. And since we now have a character called the Harbinger, it probably makes sense that Harbinger Shroud belongs to the Harbinger. So let's dive in here. There's actually a lot of stuff going on with the Shroud mechanic on the Harbinger, so let's just start going over them. First off, let's see if as long as you are in combat and you have life force, you're going to see that life force is going to be drained over time to heal the Necromancer. So this is going to create kind of like an interesting dynamic in how you're going to play the game, being able to build up enough life force to enter Shroud, but at the same time, you need to make sure that you're avoiding enough damage so that it doesn't actually drain too much of that life force. And I mean, you still get the upside of the heal, but a lot of time you're going to be wanting to go into that Shroud and get access to those damaging abilities.
So this is the really big important part about this that I actually feel like we missed on our podcast as well. That Shroud, like if you've got really low HP, you can get out of fights and your Shroud can actually heal you. So it's kind of like still a second health bar in a way, but it's because it's moving the map bar essentially into your health pool. Exactly. But then as that happens, as you're low HP and everything else, you can't get into Shroud to do like your max damage, which just feels like that's what that is.
Kind of an interesting change of pace for this character.
Very fun.
There's a lot more to come. And let's just give myself some more life force here. And first thing we're going to see when we hop into Shroud, we're starting to accumulate this mechanic called Blight. And we'll see a little bit more of this on the rest of the spec as well. But building up Blight, you can see on the health orb, we're gaining negative health. This is temporary health, 2% per stack. This stacks up to 25 times, so you can lose up to 50% of your maximum health if you are capped on Blight. And the trade-off there is that some of the traits on this character are going to reward you for accumulating a lot of Blight, and that's going to create kind of this high-risk, high-reward dynamic for this character, which is more of a glassy DPS character, even more so than Reaper. We're going to see a couple other mechanics with the Shroud that really reinforce that. Looking to make this more of a high DPS, a little more mobility than Necromancer is used to. We'll get to that as we get into the Shroud skills.
That's so interesting. That's pretty much what Blight is. It's actually just reducing your health as you use it, because this Shroud is very, very powerful. But also, you know, thinking about your HP when you come out of it, how your health is looking. Obviously, you're going to be taking damage off of your main middle bar rather than obviously your Shroud bar. That's just how fast it drains, and also what drains into your HP pool as well. So that's going to be interesting to see how this goes. When you're in Shroud and your health starts going down, people are probably going to be like, what? That's never happened before in Necro. What's going on? So next week, if no one's seen this, they're just going to be like massively confused. And it's going to be kind of funny.
Quite good.
In all honesty, it's going to be kind of interesting. But yeah, I'm really excited. And it is really, really big risk and reward. You know, like Shroud does a lot of damage. And like you said, you know, the more Blight you have on you, there's going to be more benefits. So it feels like a little bit like Heat from Engineer to a degree. Like more heat you have, like you do a little bit more damage, or you've got more like effects that come out from your abilities, which are in the traits and some of your abilities as well. So it's kind of similar in that way, I guess you could say.
But this is also going to do weakness and poison and some life.
Yeah, weakness and poison on that is pretty good. So Elixirs now. Oh dear. There we go. So Elixirs obviously Engineer has as well. And really these are kind of self-explanatory. I don't think we have. Yeah, we've got I'm just going to let this play as he goes through. But Elixir of Promise. So you gain health, vigor, and life force. Inflicts blight on yourself. Yeah, so healing doesn't actually heal. It actually doesn't heal that much. Let's have a look. How much is the healing here? Gain health, vigor, and add life force. It does say it heals. It's a very low amount, but vigor and also, yeah, there's the blight right there.
What amount of boons they're going to give, because they're also going to have that downside of negative overall health. So Elixir of Promise, pretty straightforward. It's the heal skill, just gives you vigor and healing and life force and a little bit of blight. And then we'll get to a few more exciting skills here. Elixir of Risk, 10.
That is ridiculous. Well, I mean, there are other things which give you a lot as well. So Elixir of Risk is just going to give you Might and Fury, but that's 10 stacks, and you get a blight on yourself. Elixir of Anguish, which is one that's on right now, that is going to be swiftness and quickness. You inflict blight on yourself as well. And then the third utility, well, another elixir, sorry, is Bliss. Elixir of Bliss, gain resolution and convert your conditions into life force, which is awesome. How many is that, actually, thinking about that? It says... Oh no, sorry, I haven't got that. We haven't gone there. Condition remove 5. So this is actually a big condition removal elixir of Bliss. We've not got there quite yet on the screen, but that's actually going to be a massive one. So when you make sure you're using that to the most potential you can. Life force per condition. Oh, let's have a look at that actually there. Life force per condition 3%. So you're going to be able to add an extra 15% to your Shroud bar, which is pretty cool. So there you go. That's a light well over 1,000. And you get resolution as well, which is really, really good. Nice. So yeah, that's incoming condition damage. Decreased by like 33%. It's pretty cool. And then we've got, what else is there? Elixir of Ignorance, which is going to gain resistance and break stuns and inflict blight on yourself. So you need to be able to have a stun breaker. That's important. Then Elixir of Ambition is the big one. So you gain all boons and inflict significant blight on yourself. Whew. So these are powerful. These are quite strong, but again, they're used in situations where you have to think about what your HP is at, and like also like his base HP is 22,812 right now, and it goes right down to 11,400, which is big. You know, we're only going down to that maximum amount with Blight, but if you're building up Blight, sorry, it's confusing. Then you are going to be, you know, the potential to drop your health so low that you get 1 or 2 shotted by something could be ridiculous, but you have to wait and see. Like, it's going to be really good. It could be really fun in PvE and raids as well. And actually, some of these elixirs are going to be good because you're going to be able to share some of them through your traits as well. So hopefully we can go through the traits soon. Here we go. There's some traits. I love the trait line though. It looks really, really cool, sleek. Yeah, I love the animation. I still love these little animations they added here. The little kind of glow where it's like, oh, looks lovely. Also, think about what you feel would be good to kind of mix up with this as well. So alchemic vigor, so gain increased vitality. This trait is unique per game mode. Get 360 health. That's them trying to add just a bit of base coverage for the necro and HP pool, and also for some other reasons as well. As you can probably going to find out very much so in a moment when we have a look at the other traits. Go to it. Corrupted talent, so gain life force when you enter Harbinger Shroud, which is pretty good because you can pretty much go in there whenever you want and you're going to gain it. So if you're at, say, where on the screen right now you're not at full, you can enter it here and you'll gain that anyway. So you'll probably pretty much get straight up to the full amount of Harbinger Shroud that you really need anyways, which is pretty good. It's pretty cool. It means you can you don't have to delay essentially getting into Shroud. Let's go try and show that off in a sec. I'm not too sure. Here we go. Going for the first ability. So deal increased strike damage for each stack of Blight you have. So this is where the Blight comes into play. This is the idea of Blight. So because it is so, it's basically trading your health for damage is pretty much what the mechanic is, in all honesty. The baseline of what it is, you're trading your health for HP. And that is a good thing to kind of think about, to be fair. I mean, that's pretty much what it's doing. Does what it says on the tin, you know. Increased damage percent is 1. So do increase so this trait each stack. Okay, so you can get 25 stacks. This might stack maximum 25, I'm pretty sure. Wow, so that's actually a lot of extra damage. If you spam out these elixirs as well, and get into Shroud, beautiful. Septic corruptions that deal increased condition damage for each stack of blight you have. Again, and you can decide whether or not you're going for Condi, power. This is why he's gone like this. You see, he's not gone to the middle one. There's a reason for that. You want to go for more poison, condition damage, that one. You want to go for this. Poison is very strong, as you know, because you heal less. Minus 33% heal effectiveness, which is very, very strong. PvP. World v world, and anything really when a boss is or a player is trying to heal, basically. And then you got this final one, which is vials. Elixir skills gain reduced recharge and inflict vulnerability and slow on nearby enemies. So when you use it, there is a slow. 240 is going to be the radius for each of the elixir skills. If you want to use them with your friends as well, with your people in your party or allies anywhere, that's going to be the range it's going to be, and that's obviously me spoiling it a little bit for the future. We'll take a look right now, hopefully. And then you've got impactful, implacable, placable. I don't know. I can't read. Gain stability when entering Harbinger Shroud, which is massive. And you gain ferocity based on your vitality. So the vitality minor trait, the adept thingy-majig here, obviously is going to benefit your ferocity. So you gain ferocity based on the percentage of your vitality. So again, Carrion is one of those amulets in PvP specifically, which this is going to really bounce off of. You know, this whole spec is literally like, you know, and Core Necro as well. Is for this. I'm interested to see what Lich Form does in this. Like with Blight on you, with Lich Form, I feel like he's gonna just blow people up. That's what I'm excited for. Don't tell anyone. That's one of the first things I'm gonna try. I'm gonna probably try a Lich Form, Harbinger, Necro. With like, imagine like 4 stacks of Blight on you. Oh, that's gonna be rude. Love it though. And you get stability as well, 5 seconds. It's like you don't really get any source of any much defense, to be fair, in this build. So vitality, which helps you with ferocity as well. And again, it's all about these, like your health, turning that into like a damage stat. It's very much that health for damage kind of balance that they're trying to do. Like they're taking away something, but you're giving you something as well, obviously, which is pretty fun. Pistol skills gain reduced recharge, gain expertise based on your vitality, which again is cool. Synergizes with the bottom row. What they're trying to do again is they're trying to make it really simple for players to kind of understand what's going on, and they will go for bottom is a good synergy, bottom, middle, top. It's not always like that, of course, but I feel like that's where they've been trying to go. It's a little bit more intuitive for new players as well. And Elixir skills also grant their boons to nearby allies, gain concentration based on vitality, which is awesome. Going to be great in PvE for raids, things like that. Obviously sharing all of your boons, especially if you've got the boons from the elite elixir, which I feel would be something they might pull out unless they just go for Lich Form or something, I don't know. But sharing all your boons with people around you is going to be great. And there's some quickness in there as well as whatnot, the in terms of, you know, the quickness elixir. So if I go over to swiftness and quickness on one of the elixirs, so you share that with people, 25 second cooldown there, of course. So this isn't going to last for a long time. The quickness is only 5 seconds, but you get tons of like concentration on this. Like you can put that out quite a lot more, and you get resolution and might and fury and stuff on the elixir. So you can make a full elixir sharing. So it's like Boon Share Thief, but I guess, or it's not really like boon share thief, but it's definitely going to be something which you can potentially pump out some might and another thing, other boons as well. Like there is might that you can push out in Necro, so it might be interesting to see how someone can put a build together. I've got ideas rolling around in my head right now as I'm talking about it, but it feels like it could be very interesting and more support. When I say support, I mean like buffing like the rest of your teammates. It's going to be 5 people because the number of targets is 5 in Twisted Medicine. So remember, this is going to be a group of 5 buffing up your party to give them those extra boons, which is going to be Fury, Might, Quickness, Swiftness, Resolution, some good survivability there as well. Pretty cool. Not got long to go. It is very, very awesome. I'm really excited for this. So excited. It's actually going to show you as well. That's the one he's showing it with you. There you go. The reason he's targeted that is because that's that share trait, and he's using the elite boon. The elite, elixir, which gives you all of the boons, and he's given them all to his friend as well. So you're in a 2v2, for example. So this is why if you take that trait, like running around on your own is not going to be that beneficial. So you wouldn't change that. You wouldn't take that trait if you're doing that. That's very much for team stuff. If you give everyone the ability to have even just stability for that long. So let me just run through some of the boons that you get with the elite. Elixir, for example, on that, and if you share them, it's going to be really, really powerful. So you can share it with 5 people. You get 5 seconds swiftness, 5 seconds of stability with 5 stacks of stability. So you can obviously take those stacks away, but still you're not going to be doing that much. 25 stacks of might. Yeah, if you're gonna bomb someone, you use this first. At the beginning of a fight, like in mid of team fight, like mid fight on any map, or even in 2v2, 3v3, 1v1, whatever, you're gonna be trying to get someone to get you in stealth. You're gonna pop this down with that trait, and you're all gonna run in there with 25 stacks of might, quickness, stability, everything, and you're just gonna go ham. Like, this is what I like. This is really like, this is helping your team do a lot of damage through it's pushing that envelope a little bit more into the fighting and the damage rather than the tankiness of what PvP's kind of been like recently with Scourge. I feel like, you know, we could get to this place in PvP where we might be doing a little bit too much damage, and we might not have any tanks by the time we get to Ender Dragons, but we don't know what else is coming support wise, and I feel like we're going to get something from Ranger specifically, maybe. We'll see. But that elite elixir getting shared is pretty powerful. That is a lot. There's a lot of defense as well. Think about the regen protection for 5 seconds. Fury is 5 seconds as well. You get alacrity as well, which is pretty cool. And you'll share that. You have to be 240 though. Very close range. That's the one thing. You have to be very close. Oh wait, actually, does it say there? It doesn't say there, but I'm pretty sure it's 240. I think that's the inference of as we go through the rest of the traits. Anyway, Cal had drank a literal waterfall and a whole river while he was on this stream. It was quite interesting. Okay, one of the Grandmaster's cascading corruption. So you damage and cripple nearby enemies. Your power is increased while in Harbinger Shroud. You gain an aura that pulses each interval to damage and cripple nearby enemies. Pretty cool. Just does what it says on the tin, really. Nothing special. I mean, he's going to show it now, I think. It reminds me of like a slower core Necro Shroud 4 ability as well, to be honest. But that's just ongoing passive damage. There you go. It looks like it's building up the Blight as well. And you got the bottom ability, which is going to be approaching Doom. I love these names. Nearby foes are tormented and weakened. Free torment weakness is really great. Your condition damage is increased while in Harbinger Shroud. You gain an aura that pulses each interval to torment and weaken nearby foes. Now, the weaken is very, very good. And I'm interested to see what this is going to be like condition damage wise. Also, how they are doing this and talking about, in the past they said they didn't want condition damage to be bursty. This is my main concern with Harbinger Shroud. Whereas you can't stack a lot of torment or anything in one ability, I feel like when you start to go through these abilities, you're going to find that there is a lot of condition burst in this build, and I feel like that's going to be a concern. I have to turn this song up, it's too good. It's the Joya song. Pickle Patch Hollow. Yeah, good. I really like the Blight when it comes up on your character. That green aura is so good. And then look at the stacking torment and stuff. Oh, that's beastly. And then definitely haste. You and your nearby allies gain quickness, and that's the quickness as well. So while in Harbinger Shroud, gain an aura that pulses each interval to grant quickness to yourself and nearby allies. So that's going to be definitely PvE in raiding, and this is the one mainly that will be spreading the quickness to your raid. So you can see that in raid specifically now, Necro and even in PvP or World War or whatever, is getting the ability to share boons with the rest of their teammates, which is what they couldn't really do before. You could pump out a ton of might actually, and a lot of people don't really know that or think about it. Couldn't actually do that, but it was that and barrier, a little bit of, you know, condition removal and whatnot through Scourge, and it could obviously give a little bit of regen through stuff at times as well. But like, you know, and protection if you went into wells and you went into protective wells, I think that's still a thing. I can't remember if they removed that. It has a lot of resin potential, but now like if you mix this with, I would love to see like this. I'm thinking about a build already, like blood trait line with like a couple of wells maybe for protection to heal, to help yourself while you're in fights. You could have a nice 1v1 brawler build as well. I feel like this would be quite cool. I'm so excited to play this, you have no idea. But basically this is while in the Harbinger Shroud, you gain an aura, pulses each interval and grant quickness to yourself and nearby allies. It's 2.25 seconds every 3 seconds. So in PvE you're going to be able to extend that shitload because of obviously concentration, boon duration on runes, whatever else, food and everything else you're going to be able to pump out. So you're definitely going to pump out enough quickness, and it's easy. It's easier than even Scrapper is. It's probably the easiest quickness you can pump out. It's just about managing your shroud. And if you're losing too much HP, so your healing is going to be important. Your barrier maybe is going to be important to buffer the health of these guys, because obviously they want to be at max shroud all the time. They don't want their shroud pumping too much into their HP pool if they're losing health. So it's going to be all about making sure they're quite healthy a lot of the time, and they're timing their shroud abilities really, really well, and they're making sure that whenever it's off cooldown, they're jumping back in, and that concentration and boon duration covers the time that they might be out of shroud for. But then they've still got the time of for the elite elixir, which they can use in between in downtime of shroud. And shroud, what was the shroud cooldown? I need to really double check. I can't remember. Let me just press play. I really need to try and find where it is. Harbinger Shroud. See, I see the skills. Yeah, I don't see the actual shroud. See if he clicks on it. Doesn't look like it. Watch, I'm not gonna be able to find it now. So typical. I did find actually shroud skills, major traits. It's just 10 seconds, isn't it? We might be able to see if he switches into shroud and then back out really quickly. He's just going to give himself life force the whole time, and he's not. The cooldown's probably gone off. Wait. See what happens. When he comes out of this. Should come out. I bet he's going to pop it back up. Either way, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm trying to say. Giving yourself the quickness, giving the rest of your team quickness as well. Raids, small party PvE as well, fractals, all that kind of stuff. Look at these abilities, man. I'm telling you people. Look at that. And also managing your shroud. And don't forget, like, you're going to be able to stay in it for a while, especially if you're using the things like the second ability. You want to be sticking in this for as much time as you possibly can. But yeah, awesome. I mean, he hasn't got a cooldown here on the shroud, and again, like, there is normally a cooldown on shroud, and we talked about this today, and he said it must be like a dev command or something, but maybe he's taking it off. But I think dev shroud is normally about 10 seconds, something like that. Maybe there isn't cooldown. I might have missed it, so if someone can point it out to me and let me know. I think that's been disabled. I'm not too sure in this. We'll see. Anyway, everyone, thank you so much for watching. There's some thoughts there. Okay, there's some thoughts. Lots of strung out thoughts about all the things. But yeah, there's loads of build craft that I'm going to be coming with you next week. So get watching me on Twitch. Next week, I'm going to be on Harbinger. Also, we're going to be on Wheelbender. Also, we're going to be on Virtuoso. Just going through a lot of these builds. This is one of the elite specializations I'm most excited for, and I play Necro, and I've started to really understand Necro a lot more over the last year or so, and I'm excited. I hope you are too. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon below as well if you want to support the channel. Greatly helps. I'm in school and I am going into internship soon, and it really supports what I do. We don't get paid, so I appreciate anything you can throw, even if you chuck a subscription onto the channel. That's massively awesome as well. Also, don't forget to pre-purchase the expansion if you want to do that. And if not, that's okay. Go and find a creator you can do that with, because if you use that link in the description, it massively supports them, massively supports me if you use mine. Either way, do it. It's good times. We are all officially ArenaNet partners if you see that link in our description below the stream. I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Take care and have a fantastic weekend, day, night, morning, or afternoon, wherever you are. Bye-bye for now.